Hello everyone, my name is Clancis. If you have forgotten who I am, I tried my level best to come now and again to say hello, proof of life. I am recovering from a sudden illness. Apparently, I was catching a cold and my body doesn't like flu because I hardly ever get sick. And when I do get sick, it's not good. It's never a good thing. And because I no longer have my mom around who used to know what to do, I'm fumbling you people. If you ever heard that your cleanses kuyambula kuyambeswa, meaning it's critical, just know that he failed to administer the medication that he was given, especially pills. I'm not good with pills. So today marks day 4. You see the problem? No, day 5. So I'm left with 2 more days before this antibiotics, what have you else regime to finish. So now and again, I might sound ridiculous. I'm just giving you a disclaimer here. I will sound gibberish because that's another thing about my body that I noticed. Because it's not used to chemicals, it takes forever for the chemical to dumb down. Those that are scientists, doctors, you name it, please let me know why. There was a time where, especially the first 2 days of my medication, I slept 24 hours. I'm still disoriented today. Apparently, today is Monday. Yeah, the jury is out on that one. But anyways, let me not bore you. I'm just here to say I'm feeling a little bit better, but my voice is still groggy. And now and again, I might cough during my this responding of this very important question that I can tell it was gaslighting, but at the same time, it gave me an opportunity to educate according to how I understand things. I say it again, according to how I understand things. All right. So nobody must come here as an expert and tell me, no, 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 you are wrong here, Clantis. No, no, no. According to me, Clantis Tumakute. All right. I hope we understand each other. So I wake up this morning around 3:30. Yeah, that's another thing. I've been waking up anyways, like wee hours of the morning of late since the beginning of the year. So I read my emails like I always do. I mean, I've got like heaps and heaps of emails. If I haven't gotten to your email or I haven't responded, I'm not ignoring you. Please understand that. So one of the emails was about borderless. It was about borderless. Because right now there is this big talk about borderless Africa, borderless Africa. When before colonialists came to Africa, the continent was borderless. You know, I've had this debate before with a lot of people, and I'm thinking, are they dumb? Didn't you go to school? Oh, but no, forget school. Because, I mean, when the white man came to Africa, he came with 3 elements. He came with Shakespeare, that's education. He came with a gun, that's politics, right? And then he came with the Bible, that's religion. And ironically, all 3 things, Africans use it on each other, either to manipulate each other or to start some kind of an unrest based on either all 3 of them or one of them or 2 of them. See how they got us? Yeah. Anyways, I digressed. So the question was, yeah, we are all one, we are brothers, we Africans, and what have you, what have you. Now, this question, ironically, is coming from the United States. So I am thinking to myself, and I look a little bit closer to the email because I understand how Black Americans said their things, especially when they will ask a question. There's a certain way they ask questions. And let's not forget also the American English. This one was either an African living in America. And in my head, I was like, perfect. Perfect that you're asking this question about borderless Africa. Now, out of these 3 elements, I said what? Shakespeare, education, gun, politics, the Bible, religion. All right. Now let's start with um, prior to these three things coming to Africa. I'm a Zulu. I think by now many people know that I'm a Zulu. And in my culture, where I come from, in KwaZulu Natal, there's these things called igodi. Isigodi sakwa Dumakude. Isigodi saka Mkhwanazi. Isigodi sakwa Mhlongo. Isigodi, well, we don't have isigodi sakwa Zulu because the whole KwaZulu Natal is the Zulu kingdom. So I think you're getting the idea here. And each and every one of the chiefs, because they have chiefs in those godis. Well, if you want to know what is godi is, in English it's a village, but direct translation is a whole because the villages were in the valleys. To this day, they are in the valleys, the top of the hill. It is where when I, Dumagude, want to go visit Umhlongo, I stand at the tip of the hill and I look down and then I will say, remember the Vodacom ad? Molo Mhlekazi. Editing Clantus here. It is not Vodacom, but Telcom. It is a Telcom ad. And let me play it for you to remind you. I will say, Molo Mhlekazi. You know why I'm doing that? I am respecting his boundaries. Operative word we're introducing. Boundaries. Because I'm Tisagwa Mhlongo. I'm not greeting Mhlongo. Get Molo Mhlongo. I am saying Izithakazelo. That means clan names of the Mhlongos. Well, it's just unfortunate I forgot them. I'm a coconut, okay? So stop right there. And I will say all of his clan names. And Umhlongo, where he'll be sitting under a tree, drinking maybe umkomboti or drinking water or just a netezeke in his, within his boundaries. And then if Umhlongo doesn't want to talk to me, he will send a little boy to go and find out what do I want. Because he wants to have a me time. And a little boy will run for about 30 minutes to get to me there on the hill. So I don't just go to Umhlongo because we are black and we are Zulus and then I just walk down the hill and then feel Umhlongo sitting under a tree. Me sit sawubona Mhlongo. Mhlongo has the right to take his spear, umkhonto, and drive it into my stomach for disrespect. How dare I come without being invited or allowed to set foot in his boundary? Oh, it's African, let me tell you that. It's very African. It doesn't matter where in Africa you are. Now, let's say me, Edumagude, ngidingisiwe, meaning I'm being exiled from my school, Tisaka Dumagude. And now, sengundinga stebeni, meaning I am now, what is ndinga stebeni in English? I'm now not a free agent, but I'm exiled. And now I am looking for sanctuary, or I'm looking for a new start. But all the Dumagutes, any Dumagutes code is already been known to no longer of ours. I'm no longer a Dumagute. So I go miles and miles and miles looking for a new home. And when I get again to the Mhlongos, I stand on the top of the hill because I don't know what God this is. And then I will say something That shows that I'm new here. I don't know whose boundary this is. Please hear me out. And the head of the house will send a little boy to me on top of the hill to find out, what do I want? That poor boy will be running up and down because it is not short distance. In most cases, the kid could be running for an hour to me and running back an hour to give the message as to who I am, and then come back another hour running to say, well, my dad says no, or my dad says, okay, come in. Right? So then if, let's say, I am allowed to come into now the Mhlongo village or isigodi saka Mhlongo, I don't just get there and then because I'm a man and I'm black and Zulu. No. I would first ask, ngicela ukubuza ngikwabani la? What clan is this? And then I'll be told. Now, many Zulus know other people's clans because that's what we're supposed to do. It's part of the respect and the culture. And then, if Mabe Wamshlongo, because we know the Mshlongos, they're quite, I'm sorry if this is controversial. I think they have a relation with the Zulu royal. So I have to do all the Zulu royal, I don't know, praises. Whether I'm on my one knee and shayi takazelo zakamhlongo, shayi takazelo zakamhlongo, shayi takazelo zakamhlongo, until maybe if the mhlongo guy, the head is, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, sings will. And then I tell the mhlongo, I have been exiled from my village, ngudumakude, and then umhlongo say, how dumakude mtima shange pangandawo, all those my clan names. And then I tell him what I've been accused of that led me to be exiled. Now I am a danger, clearly, because I'm exiled. So he will choose whether he will accept me or not accept me, but will listen to my story, because there are always two sides to a coin, right? I could be falsely accused. He listens to me. And then he will ask at the end, so what do you want from me? And then I will say, I am asking you if you could please go to the chief, Induna, that is like a manager of the chief. Ngicela ungikhulumele nenduna yendawo. Please speak on my behalf to the management of this village to accept me as one of your own, since I am exiled, or temporarily accept me as one of your own. Then this Mhlongo guy will send a child to the Nduna. Hey, when Nduna. And in most cases, the Ndunas know everybody. Every member of that community, the Nduna knows, because that's his responsibility, just like the chief. And then if the Nduna is not busy, we'll come and listen to my story, and I'll have to start it from scratch. And if this story is anything to go by, and then when the chief of the village, I guess they'll have meetings, what we call imbizo. Maybe once a year, twice a year, or 3 times, we don't know. It depends on each village. And then the item of agenda, I will be on it. Because the word runs very, very fast in communities. Oh, there's a stranger. Oh, there's a stranger. And everybody will say, hi, we're going to siyozwa emhlanganweni or siyozwa embizo. We are going to hear on the next meeting who this individual is, what is there, etc. and so on. And then comes the imbizo. The community is there, the Ndunas are there, and the chief is there. And once again, I am going to be tabled on that meeting. And if the chief has heard my story, but once we hear it from the horse's mouth, I will also be sitting, but not in the meeting, in the periphery. Remember, I'm not of that community. In the periphery. Once again, showing respect. And then I'll be invited. Maybe the periphery is another hour away from where the imbizo is being held. And then we will walk for that hour. And I'll be invited to the chief. and then explain my story not only to the chief, but also to his subjects. Because at the end of the day, the chief, when he says, yes, come in, what if I am a danger? Now I'm a danger to everybody that is in this village. So if the chief feels, okay, we hear your story, but we are watching you. And then they're not going to build me a house amongst the people. They are not going to give me a piece of land amongst the people. That's so-called integration. They are going to build me a house on the peripheries of Iskoti, which shows anybody that passes by, that person there is not of the clan. But the clan had mercy on him. That is why he has a house on the peripheries of the village. In other words, if I was a country or a citizen of a country and my country is at war and I run to the next safe country, in the next safe country, because they already know what's going on in my country, they are not going to bring me into the community. They are going to build me, yes, you got it, a refugee camp by the periphery. You know what a periphery is? This is good. This on the circumference is what you call a periphery. That means you are in and also out of the village or the country. In most refugee camps, they are by the border. That's the periphery. They are by the border. Now, we are talking about borderless Africa. Let's go to education. Maybe not education. Let's go to religion. Remember, they came with 3 elements. Let's go to religion, the Bible. We were told that our cultures, our customs and values and what are savage. They even went as far as saying evil. Worship of ancestry is evil. Wenzumsebenzi is evil. Evil, 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 as long as it is done by a Black African. That's the 3rd element they came with. And okay, it is what it is right now. People are religious. People have turned their backs on the African tradition, values, and principles and adopted religion, whether that is Judaism, whether that is Christianity, whether that is Islam, whatever it is that people these days, especially Black people, Africans, have adopted. Now let's go to what God says about boundaries, borders. All right, here we go. This is the Bible. In the New International Version, Acts 17, verse 26. Just that one verse. From one man, he made all the nations that they should inhabit the whole earth. And he marked out the appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. Now, what does this highlight? Of course, it highlights God's sovereignty, that God, remember, at the start of the sentence is from one man, that's God. We all come from God, Black, white, Indian, colored, Chinese, all of us. We come from one man. And it's quite funny that the very same religious people, they say, what about the white people? Chase out the white people. The white people. Hey, the white people in South Africa. Black South Africans are afraid of white people. White people. White people. And they go on Sunday to church. And yet this is what God says about all of us. We come from God. Hey, I'm not the one who brought the Bible to Africa or religion for that matter, right? So it highlights the sovereignty of God and his creation of humanity. I just mentioned who humanity is: Black, white, Indian, color, All right. Him being that single source of our existence. However, remember the Tower of, is it the Tower of but something in the Bible as well, where we all could speak one language and God said, this is way too dangerous. And that's why today we have all kinds of languages so that we don't understand each other and we don't influence each other, because they wanted to go all the way up to see what's happening beyond there. If they will see God type of situations like that. No, 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 no. We're not about to do that. Now, once again, that all this source, geography, I come now with using education, the element. I come from a very good education background. Very, very good. As poor as we were, for some reason, I found myself in private schools that were super expensive. Okay, what it was through scholarship. My teachers would see me and say, "No, you don't belong in this ordinary school. So we are going to speak to a super school somewhere." They will write a letter, and then I'll be called for an interview. That's the first step. Second step, I will write an aptitude test, that is IQ test. They want to see my intelligence. If it fits this school type of situation. And I turns out I used to ace them. That also included eye test, ear hearing test. I forgot what was the other test. If you was it taste? I can't remember, but I know eye test and hearing tests were done also. And then the school be like, he's our material. That's how I found myself in private schools. And for some reason, the white kids thought I was super rich. And yet I took a school bus to school and they were driven in limousines and all these expensive cars. I digress. Anyways, I come from a very good education background. And in my education background, we were taught everything under the sun. For us, history began in grade 4. What is that? Standard 2 for people that come from my generation. That's where we started with history, geography, mathematics. Well, we already did it from grade 1, but now a little bit advanced. What else? Health and education, that is biology. Physical science, chemistry. All started at grade 4, where I come from. So I took a very keen interest in 2 subjects, history and geography. And I'm telling you, geography is what the question is about. Boundaries. But not only geography, but history as well. Each one of these boundaries on the African continent, the recent baby that was born in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, on the African continent, based on religion and history, is South Sudan. South Sudan. So now, where is all this coming from? It's coming from what already existed with us people here on the African continent. That as a Dumagote, I can't just walk into the Mhlongo village just because we are Zulus and black. It doesn't work that way, because the Mhlongo rules and the Dumagote rules are 2 different rules. We may be Zulus, but how we bury our dead might be different from how the Mhlongos bury their dead. Just like with countries, boundaries that God covered in just this verse. Let me read it again. From one man, he made all nations. What is a nation? That's homework for you. That they should inhabit the whole earth. We are inhabiting the whole earth as people, but we also are nations in our inhabitation of the earth. In order for a nation to exist, There's got to be demarcations. Even within the Domakutes, there are demarcations. Even within the Zulu nation, there are demarcations. I just told you how the Domakutes bury their dead might be different from how the Mhlongos bury their dead. I know some black cultures right here in South Africa, I think in Limpopo, they bury their dead in the wee hours of the morning, a specific time, whether that is 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 5 p.m., and yet they're South African and they're black and a different nation. Nation, for example, Zulus are a nation, Xhosas are a nation, Bavenda are a nation. Yeah, within one thing. We are South Africans, the nation of South Africa. South Africa being a nation. But within that nation, there are nations. Afrikaners are a nation. White English people are a nation themselves. Indians are a nation. Colored people are a nation. Let's continue. And he marked out the appointed times in history. Our history was already known way back then. How we were going to fight these our battles and how we were going to win our battles. The gun. Politics. Politics. Politics kicks in. And the reason let's finish. Marked out the appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. That means the geography of our inhabitation of the earth. That is why this lady right here.
African migrants are some of the most at risk during the Israeli bombardment of Lebanon. Many are unable to find shelter or even legally flee the country. There are approximately 120,000 African migrants in Lebanon living as domestic workers within the country, emigrating from Ethiopia, Sudan, Sierra Leone, Kenya, and they receive the least protections from the Lebanese government. These are people who have already faced displacement and war in their own countries, like Sudanese migrants, and they're facing it again in Lebanon. Except in Lebanon, they have fewer rights afforded to them. Many are not even allowed to access public shelters. Shelters in Beirut, for example, require a Lebanese ID. They prioritize the safety of people of Lebanese descent. African migrants are largely turned away. Many end up sleeping on the street. And this isn't new. This happened in October of 2024, also during a previous round of Israeli bombardment. Africans were left to sleep on park benches and beaches because they were told there was no room for them in shelters. Many who work as domestic workers have been left behind by their employers too. These migrants live and work within family homes, and many have woken up in the morning following bombardment to find themselves completely alone in the home, abandoned by their employers. And for many of them, their legal status is tied directly to their employer as a sponsor. They cannot change jobs or leave the country without permission from their employer. Their passports are sometimes seized and withheld by their employers also. So when their employer effectively abandons them in the middle of the night, they're left stranded with no legal pathway for fleeing the country and no access to humanitarian shelters or relief. This is what a system of dependency looks like in a time of war.
Now, I don't know what you heard from this lady, but this is what I picked up from this lady. There is a WAR that is happening between Utrampi is not real. Guys, sometimes we need to use words on YouTube so that we don't get our videos chucked out. Is not real, as well as Iran. All right? And is not real while fighting Iran also saw an opportunity to bombard Ulebu, Lebanon. and Gaza, Gaza, right? And from what I'm learning, I guess this is coming from World War One and World War Two remnants. Did you know that most countries in the north had bunkers? And they also had sirens? Do we have such a thing? We're not allowed to have bunkers in South Africa, that's for sure. Not even a basement in our house. I guess just tall buildings that are allowed to have basement for parking, but not bunkers. If they had to be a WAR in South Africa, we are naked. We will see them coming like this at us. But it turns out in Europe and Middle East, they are sirens and people go underneath them to protect themselves from them things. Did you know that? I didn't. I didn't. Anyways, I digressed. So this lady, basically what she's saying is labels come first. Everyone else had nizozibona. Nizozibona. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. What label did is not wrong. Biblically, or whichever religious book you believe in, they did not do anything wrong. Cruel, yes, but they did nothing wrong. Because each nation, the number one person they should always take care of is their own. If there is still space left, then they invite you in, but with rules and conditions. All this is coming from Acts 17, verse 26. And some time ago, I even talked about, I think it was, I can't remember, it was Romans 18 or something like that, where God talks about respecting your governments and their regulations. But we have pastors in churches today, charlatans, that preach that immigration. Yeah, the guy that wants to buy the dome. Yeah, he's a charlatan. Misinterpreting the Bible for his own benefit and his people's benefit. Not South Africans. His people's, for him first, and then fight for his people. To be in the land that does not belong to them. And now his people come out and says, we are all Africans. We are all Africans. We are brothers. We are brothers. But God said, you have your own boundary. Label fought and pushed out anyone that was not a label. It's not wrong. It's like they saying, because we have Istrat, and in the streets, there are houses. And some of the houses, they got boundaries. I'm a fenced houses. There's a poet that I used to love back in matric that said, good fences make good neighbors. In the location, when you demarcate your house with a fence, we call it stop nonsense. So I have a stop nonsense in my house, in Valley, where I come from, in the township. It's the stop nonsense. And also at the same time, because our house is a corner house, so to go around, to go up that way, it can be tedious. When you could just walk right through our house onto the next street and then you go your merry way wherever with the fence on. But now what we did, we chose who can take a shortcut through our house. Remember, we chose, not people just walking through as they please, because we're in the same streets, we are one. So this argument about borderless Africa, and because they're also realizing that this Pan-African thing is bull, because it is. It is. They are now coming with, oh, we are one, we are brothers. It's like saying, I can walk into anybody's house on my street and go straight. Let's say I don't have food in my house. Walk into somebody's house on my street, go directly to the fridge, take out some chickens and beef and namash Russians and put them on the stove and fry it, sit on top of the couches, throw my feet on the table, take the remote, watch television while I'm a kanda and everything is cooking in the background. And then as a owner of the house, they're like, hey, but what are you doing? And I'll be like, hi, we are one. We're from the same street. Do you see how stupid that argument is? It's an argument that goes against even God's will. Oh, no, it's not me who said it. Go to Acts 17, verse 26. There's even Ecclesiastes that talks about when you let in foreigners, they are going to turn on you. They are going to borrow to you. They might even take over. You're going to owe them. You're going to work for them, just like Julius Malema said. So the argument of borderless Africa is stupid, and it will never succeed, because on the African continent or anywhere else, the psychologies are different. Because this email was coming from the United States, there are 50 states in the United States. They are not borderless, because if you are going to drive from New York, you are going to come across some state called Wisconsin or something. Like I could be wrong. But as you come across that state line, you'll see a big board, welcome to Wisconsin. As you drive further, welcome to Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. As you drive, those are called boundaries, borders within the United States of America. And don't get me started, it's America. No, I just gave you a big example earlier in the video about the Tumakutes and the Mhlongos. As a Tumakute, I can't just walk up to Mhlongo just because we are Zulus and we are black and we're brothers and we can do as we please on each other's land. Doesn't work like that. So it's quite clear that education has been dumbed down so much so that you don't see that, listen, there's a reason why there are boundaries. I haven't even talked about boundaries, because even in the Zulu culture, the Mhlongos, maybe they are maize meal, excuse me, they are maize meal farmers, and the Tumakutes are the cattle farmers. The Shongwe, there might be chicken farmers. Now, the Mhlongos know how many people there are in that village. Tumakutes also know how many people are in that village, just like the Shongwes will know how many people there are in their village. So, because man can't live on bread alone, meaning you can't just live on corn alone or beef alone or chicken alone. So what do? We will barter with each other. Economy. We'll barter with each other. If we don't barter with and when we barter with each other, we know that so much maize meal the Mhlongos are going to make sure that not all the maize goes to the Tumakutes, and the Tumakutes will make sure not all the cows go to the Mhlongos, etc., and so on. You still have to think and put your community first. A demarcation. Even in South Africa, we have demarcations, wards. We are going to local government elections. Somebody's going to stand for councillor in a ward. They cannot be councillor for the entire city of Johannesburg because the city of Johannesburg itself has wards, demarcations. And that person that is going to stand for councillor understands the economy, the needs of that community. And when the budget comes, it's exactly for that community. Can you imagine now? There were 30 people in that demarcation. And I go to city council as a councillor and I say, in my ward, we are short of tar roads. We are also short of, let's say, water. And what do you want for your community? Oh, if we can get a reservoir and or maybe a water sanitation plant, whatever the case is, and also a tar road, which is a main road that runs across the ward, so that other vehicles that come from wherever they might make a stop here in my ward. So that means we need an ultra garage, or we need something where all these vehicles that are passing through, they will stop and then they would support business in my community. So that means we want to build shopping centers. We want to build this, we want to build that, so that the community that I represent in city council benefit. So imagine now we are 20, I don't know what the number I gave earlier. We are 20, and then out of the blue, we are now 21. How do we cater to this one person? Because that means now the budget is short. It's no longer what we had calculated. It's short of how do we cater to this one person? Maybe a more practical example would be a party. The party, you get an invitation and then you have to RSVP. And you're given a deadline of RSVP. And then we know now that, okay, we invited 10 people. 2 did not RSVP on time, or they did not RSVP at all. Remember, I invited people that I know, that I love, and they know me and they love me too. So on the wedding day or party day, now all 10 people are there, but we only have chairs, seats, plates, food for 8 people. Where are we going to get the extra 2 seats and plates and cutlery and all that other stuff for these extra 2 people? And then they turn around and say, we are friends. We are friends, and we don't have to go RSVP. That's the argument about borderless Africa. Stupid. It is a stupid debate. All of this, they are saying it because they have, how do you put this in a nice way? These people, they're not smart. The ones that are pushing One Africa, they are users. And I gave an example not so long ago, and I said, if South Africa bombs were faced this way and we were given 7 days, within 24 hours, all these people that say, oh, borderless Africa, we are brothers, will be gone. And only South Africans are going to be left. And because we are not cowards, we will take them those bombs. We'll take them. We're not going to pack up with our Ghana must go bags, or Shangan bags as we call them here. We're not going to be running and going to be nuisance and parasites to other people. So I hope that I'm not done with this. It's just that it's becoming way too long of a video. But in my understanding, these 3 elements are at play on the African continent. And each one of them are fighting tooth and nail to take over Africa. And if I had to choose which one that I want to go with, it would be Shakespeare. It will be Shakespeare, because Shakespeare has proven time and again that when you are educated, you put yourself in a better position. Not only you as an individual and your family, but your community as well as your nation, meaning the country. And if you weaken education, you are going to be left with people that are easily swayed with terminologies by people who have silver tongues. They will tell you, oh, we are brothers. Oh, we are one. Yeah, because education has been dumbed down. That means you are dumb. And on top of that, to put a cherry on the cake, religion. You have to listen to the man standing in front. And y'all have gone as far as calling them men of God. We are all of God. Should I repeat? Should I repeat? From one man, he made all nations. We all belong to God. We are all men and women of God. There's no special person. I don't care how you argue it. That is why when it comes to the gun politics, they use churches to beat you into submission why you should vote for that political party. And when ish hits the fan, the church is nowhere to be found. They say nothing. Right now, we are going through it. The church is mum. But come election time, anyways, I will leave this video right here. Again, my way of seeing things. Whether I'm wrong or right, still my way. All right. So I hope you answered brother in the US who's, I think, a Nigerian. It's a stupid argument. Borderlessness doesn't exist, not even in God's plan. Doesn't exist. Borderlessness. I'll leave this video right here. I don't know even how much long it is, but I apologize. I thought we should talk more. I have to go take my medication and sleep for 4 hours because it knocks me down for 4 or 5 hours, sometimes even 8 hours. I can't wait for this to be over. Okay, guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you all for listening. And I love y'all, guys. I truly, truly love you. The messages you guys have been sending have been amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah. Just see each other in my next video. I'm starting to blab. Goodbye.